So now that you have your package template onto the Illustrator file and you've saved it to PDF, you can now separate out the layers that are going to be scored and cut. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to select the score lines. You can see that's just the blue interior lines there. And I'm actually going to move this whole compound path up into layer 2, and this other compound path of the blue in the other shape up also to layer 2. I'm going to lock those, and I'm going to blink them. One of the things you want to be able to do is to work within particular areas. So one of the things that we can do here is work within each of these outline shapes. One more thing that we want to do is we want to take this whole layer and we're going to make a copy of that so that we can have an additional locked and hidden outline in case we need it again. We may want several of those to overlap some shapes and use it for masking. So back to this particular shape, you can see here it says comp, that's a compound path. We're going to go to Object, Compound Path, and we're going to release that compound path. That way we'll see all of the parts of that path, okay, all the different sections. You can also see how they're all still selected. So while they're still selected, I'm going back to Object and Path and Join. So now what we have is a single path that goes around the outside. So the only thing that lets us do now a little bit more easily is to consider something like a fill that we can use to fill the whole piece, right? And you could even, with that fill, you could decide that you want to work with a gradient, right? Add your colors for whatever colors you want your gradient to be. Purple, why not? Okay, so that you can do something like that, and within that structure, you still have, we'll blink the lines back on, you can see where the lines are for each of those different areas and how that's going to come together. This gives you a certain amount of freedom to create some backgrounds and maybe some designs within that shape. And have them automatically bleed over. You won't have little white lines between them by trying to fill each side individually. And that could serve as a really good example for some ideas for background. I am getting a little ahead of myself. I also wanted to make sure that we created, let me go to the top and add yet a third layer. And this blue is really close to this blue, so I'm going to recolor this layer to, let's go with grass green so we can really see that difference there. So our layer 4, I'm going to go in and we're going to create a few text components here. We want to make sure that, for example, and I'll make this text, go to properties, I'll make this text a little bit bigger so we can see it. That looks pretty good. We want to make sure that we know where we are with our areas on the box. That's the bottom. This is the back. And the back, we'll check out that in a minute. This is going to be the top slash lid, right? And this one is our left, and this one is our right. When you're thinking about which direction all these are facing, the front is going to be facing up like this. The bottom could go either way, right? It depends. The back, however, is actually, that's the top of the back, right? So if you fold it around, it's going to flip up. So this is going to look upside down in your design. So remember that. And then the top lid generally is oriented so that it's upright as you're about to open it. We want to make sure that this is upright and this is upright. Okay, so you have options with your bottom that could go either way. This layer will be a reminder. I'm going to lock it in place and then I'm going to blink it, right? And it would hold true for this, except this would be flipped around, right? So you could use the same one again if you needed to. But that's really important to make sure that you're clear on which direction things need to be oriented. Okay. The next thing that we might consider is decorating with some patterns, right? And you might decide that you want to maybe create some, oops, let me add yet another layer here. I'm going to add a new layer, and this is going to be my patterns, and these might be my background colors, right? Think about labeling so you can find what you need. I'm going to do some patterning here because maybe I want to also consider an option for a colored stripe. Maybe we've decided that we want a blue colored stripe. Some of these things we've been thinking about Winterfest. Maybe we also want some stars in a slightly different color. Oops. I must actually make the star to change the color. This, we want some stars, and I'm going to change the color on that. And we probably don't want the black outline for that, right? So we can get rid of that. And then if you're making a pattern out of a shape, if you hold down the Alt button and click on it, you'll see how my cursor is that double arrow. That means you can make a copy. And you might decide that you want your stars, and maybe we want them oriented a particular way, to be like overlapping all the way down the stripe. Maybe we want one on each end, right? You could have some sort of pattern that way. You could also decide that you want these to be different sizes. Oops. Yikes. Different sizes. Let's make you a little bit smaller. Can we do that? A little bit smaller. A little bit distorted. Anyway, you could decide what you want for that. You could also do something as simple as polka dots. One of the fun things about polka dots, if you make your circle, and let's say we want a 1 centimeter, so 10 millimeter by 10 millimeter perfect circle. There's my perfect circle. Anytime you click and you hit return, you will get another polka dot of that same size. So you can use these to create patterns on your box. You can create overlapping patterns. You could decide that these colors might change over time. The other thing that you can do with patterns, or anything that you select like this, is that you can align those. Let's say we want those to line up so that they are distributed evenly, spaced out side by side. That's an even spacing side by side. Maybe we want them to all be on the same axis this way. There's all sorts of things that you can do for that alignment tool. Okay, so this is your alignment to your grid or your object. Okay, I'm going to keep my generative recolor up here. And okay, so that's a start. Now the other thing is, remember we were talking about generating our AI logo, which maybe we just want to generate a few that are roughly, I don't know about, we want it to fit in our box. But if it's square, we'll be able to resize it. Okay, great. So we're going to take that, and now you can see how I have messed up all of my organized layers. We can move things around later. But now let's use that let's use that generative tool. So if you click on the selection tool, you will get your generate options to explain the graphic you need. I would like a logo for a seed ball, rice, and we want something that's thinking maybe about the environment, right? Maybe we want something that has a globe in it. Some of you, depends on what your partners came up with. And I didn't give that a style either. You'll see when I hit enter, it turned up over here. I forgot to give it a style. Maybe I want something bold and graphic and vibrant. Maybe I want something with a watercolor style, or I want a hand-drawn aesthetic. So this is, yeah, so globe was really kind of took over the whole thing. So maybe I don't want that. Rice sprout. Let's go with a sprout, shall we? And I like watercolor style, truly. I like the sort of painterly thing. A lot of the times with these graphics, they're very flat colors, and sometimes the watercolor style will give us a little more variation in the color in each area of the design. Aha! Well, isn't that interesting? And then we have this as an option for a logo, and this. Ooh, maybe we like this one. Okay, let's play with that. And you can see here too, right, that it is, it says match active artboard style. So the reason we have the pinks and the purples and the blues is because that's what I have on the artboard. So it will match that. Let's say that's the one I want to use. And there we go. Then I can place that on my packaging. I can copy and paste. Maybe I really don't like that white background is not really working particularly well. We can go into that vector. Let's go to the layers and go to this group, right? These are all the groups of all the components of that. No, I can't really zoom in. So if we are looking at the two white parts, right? We might decide that we just don't want that, and we don't want this either. So you can remove parts from the vector graphic fairly easily. You just have to figure out which parts they are. You could also go in to any one of these and decide that maybe that blue part, we don't want it to be blue, right? We can go over here and we might want that to be, say we have a green, and maybe we want the pink part here. Again, go in and see what parts you're dealing with here, because there's all these different colors. Recolor. Okay, so if you go to edit and edit colors and generative recolor, we should be able to see how this works. There we go. So we can, if you tell it to recolor with greens and browns, the things that are selected will get recolored. I kind of like this one. That's kind of working for me. And then we could go up to the stock part and select the stock part and also say recolor. Ooh, and now we can recolor by hand. Ooh, this is kind of fun, actually. Color theme picker. One color. There we go. Okay. So we have some options in terms of vibrance and darkness, prominent colors. Maybe we want to do this with 3 different colors. So we have a light green and a darker green and a gold, maybe. We could make that happen. Maybe we only want 2 colors. I want to be able to move these around a little bit better. I don't know why they're doing that. Ooh, nice. Okay, so maybe we like that color combination a little bit better. But it allows you to really get in there and change up what you want to do without too much of a struggle. And maybe we want, like, if you don't like the black of the pot, we could do that and maybe make that the dark blue that we had with the stars so they match. And now, of course, I want to go back to my green and realize that that's actually dirt, and let's make that dirt. Let's do that here, make sure we're on the green one, and we'll make that a nice, warm, dark, reddish. Maybe not quite that dark. Brown. Okay. Happy camper. All the options. So this is the sort of thing that you're going to be working with, right? And then what else do you need? Oh, you need text, right? So one of the things that text can do is type on a path, which is kind of fun. So if, let's say, we wanted to have text on a round path, going around, ignore the fact that there's brown in that, oops. Around this, let's flip that around. We can grab your text tool, type on a path, and we can click on the path. Right? And wherever you click is where it's going to start, and that'll give you the opportunity to put that in there. And then you should be able to go through, and let me move this, well, okay, fine, to whatever font you want. You may have to select the font to change it up. Put this down here so we can see what's changing. Ta-da! Maybe that gets a little bit too big, and we want to make that back a little bit smaller. Oh, that looks pretty good. All kinds of fun things, right? Again, you could change the color of that. So typing on a path, that's an option for you. You can also, one of the things that you can do with Illustrator and fonts is, let's say I just want a single S for seed ball or whatever. I can go into that and I can convert that to an outline. So we can create that with an outline. I can flip this around. It's not fill anymore. And I can then go in and move any of these things that I want to create my own special characteristic lettering. Maybe I want to move, oops, this one and this one and this one all together to make that come out and be, maybe this one comes down too. So you can make your own font if you want, or your own letter, or make your letter fit a shape that works for what you're trying to do for a seed sprout or a seed ball or something, right? Those are pretty much the big controls that you're going to want to play with. That would be my suggestion. And talk to your partners about what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're meeting the needs of the fifth graders, given it is their sort of direction you're trying to go with. Yeah, we'll start with that. Hopefully this gives you enough to think about, and we'll see what you come up with in class. Good luck.